everybody. My name is Donna, and this is Cathy. We are with The Edge with Donna and Cathy.
Yes.
So your name is Cathy, and I'm Donna.
Uh-huh.
So that's hence The Edge with Donna and Cathy.
Cathy.
Yeah, there
That's
you
right.
go.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much for watching. We appreciate you watching us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be more shows on the way. So this is our second show, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited about this because it's fun. It's like old times again, Cathy.
Yes, it is. This time it's just a little different because we're in your studio, which is really nice. I love
Thank
it.
you. Yeah, I like it.
And then we're going to go out on the road. And so you'll see a lot of our shows. You will get to see all of us. In the studio, you're just seeing basically from the waist up, I guess, because
that's probably
just
enough.
the way television
As far as
is
I'm
doing
concerned,
now.
that's
Yeah.
enough. But with her, it's a different
when you
story.
see us together and someone else is shooting us, then you'll understand why. Because that's kind of complicated. I'm 5'10", and Donna, how tall are you?
5'4".
Yeah, it's a little more complicated,
Yeah.
especially since I wear heels. So usually I'm
and I wear
close
heels
to 6
too
foot.
when I'm not in my studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're actually live to you right now in
We're-
Geraldine, Alabama. Had
That's
you ever heard of Geraldine, Alabama until you knew me?
No, I don't think I had, Donna.
Not
That's
many
like,
people have.
well, I had not heard of Henniger. You ever heard of Henniger?
Oh, yeah.
You know where Henniger
I
is?
grew up and knowing where Henniger is.
Yeah.
Oh, they're in the north.
Yeah, that's Henniger, Alabama. I did not know about Henniger until actually my sister lived in Scottsboro many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually there was another little pretty community, Goose Pond.
Oh, the Goose Pond.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that is gorgeous out in there.
Many years ago she lived there. Now she actually lives in Arab. So
all this
all
is
that
just
area is
gorgeous
just-
area.
Yes, and my niece lives in Albertville.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just basically from Calhoun County north.
Uh-huh.
I've been exposed to a lot
Mhm.
over the years.
This
Slowly.
is just pretty area, and we've
Mhm.
got. And if you're a business and you're thinking about starting a business in Alabama, we highly encourage you to do that because we're really close. If you want some of the big city, like every
Mhm.
once in a blue moon, I want to go to the big city.
Right.
Every
And
once
we
in a
go
blue
to Birmingham. Well, you have your choice. You can go to a big city, which is bigger city, if you want to say, which would be Huntsville or Birmingham, or
Chattanooga.
yes,
pretty
Chattanooga. But if you want a really big, large city, now you're going from big to large, I guess is how you could say that. Then you could go to Atlanta. It's not very far away. That'll make you feel like New York.
We call it Hotlanta around here.
Yeah, that'll make you feel like New York.
Yeah,
because it's large.
It is huge,
Yes,
isn't it? Yeah.
yes,
So we're
it's
right
grown so
in the
much.
center of all these really big towns. However, if you want to start a business, this is the best place to find employees.
Oh yes,
Mm-hmm.
good
I want
workers
to
in
do
Alabama.
a shout out to one of the sponsors, and that's the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. Because
Mhm.
after the last show, you and I had you were just like foaming at the mouth.
Oh yes, oh it was so good. Oh, the food was delicious.
And they pile the food on your
Oh,
plate.
yeah. And the ladies were so nice.
They're
The
so
waitresses, they were
sweet.
so nice.
They always remember what you want. They usually ask me what kind of chicken I want this time.
Well, my vegetables were delicious.
Oh yeah,
But
you
the
had some good
yeast
vegetable
rolls,
plate. They're to die for.
oh yes, oh my
And
gosh.
that butter.
It was that
not
butter,
honey?
cinnamon, honey. I don't know. It was some kind of really good concoction.
Mm-hmm.
But I ate 2 of them.
It was super.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And 2 rolls.
And then they remembered what Phil always
Oh,
wants.
so good.
Because I said, well, I want a to-go plate to take to Phil. And of course they remember what he always wants. And he always gets the same thing. But one time I did trick him because I came in and she said, what kind of chicken you want this time, Donna? Like that. And I said, I don't want chicken this time, I want barbecue. And she goes, end of the world.
Barbecue. Do they have good barbecue too?
Oh, it's awesome barbecue.
Is it inside chop or outside?
I don't even know.
You know, outside's where it's kind of hard.
No, it's inside.
Inside's the really soft, good.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way
Yeah.
now you can ask for outside and they'll give it to you,
Mhm.
because some people prefer that. But I'm gonna tell you what, they make some good steaks over there.
And my husband loves the outside chop.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's called outside meat. I don't know. Like they just, there's another term.
They know what
for
you're
it.
talking
Excuse
about.
me.
So.
They just know it's the crispy stuff, the hard stuff.
Now,
That's
what
what
do
my
you think
husband
about
likes.
their fries?
Oh, those were good.
Mm-hmm.
Those are big steak fries. I hadn't seen those in a while.
I always dip mine in ranch
They
dressing.
they looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
You ate those.
But I got chicken
mashed
fingers,
potatoes.
and they were huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some places you go to, they'll say, "Well, you get 6 chicken fingers." They expect small ones. Not here. I actually took some of it home to make a salad out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And it was
what
good.
Yeah. Salads are really good. Let it get cold though. I want mine to be cold from the refrigerator,
Mm-hmm.
and it chops up a whole lot better. So
That's
I think they know what I'm
That's
doing.
what my husband likes too. Yeah.
It's super, super good that way. But go check them out. Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. They're located in Fort Payne, just off of 59. If you're listening to us right now and you're in Chattanooga, all you got to do is head south. And you'll get off at the second Fort Payne exit. There's 3 Fort Payne exits.
No, I did not realize
there's
that.
There's 3 of us. And so you get off
There's 3 of us.
There's 3 of us. And so you get off that exit and you'll see it right from the interstate. It's real easy to get to. But go check them out. And these folks are really they do things for the community. Mm-hmm. Super, super.
Yeah, and now's a good time to for these everybody starting back to school, getting in the groove of things. Mm-hmm. Now's a good time for the high school students. If you're not in the band or playing football or whatever, it'd be a great little after-school job.
But you know something?
Because they were hiring at the Stampede
But
today.
now they'll work around your schedule. There was a day you went and got a job. You did their schedule.
Yeah.
But nowadays they'll work around your schedule.
Yeah. A lot of stores are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like Walmart, Target, probably a lot of those stores where they're working them in like 3 or 4 hour shifts. So they're not there that long, so they still get their schoolwork.
I must have been over ambitious. When I was a kid, I must have been over, because I would have said, "No, how many hours will you give me? Can I have more hours?"
When I started working, I was 15 and my dad had to sign for me. Mm-hmm. And I remember actually being upset because they wanted to work you all the time. There was no working around the student like there is now. Mm-mm. Oh no, they didn't do that.
And if you would say, I can't work those hours, I'd go, next.
Yeah. Sorry, out of here.
So it's not that way anymore.
No.
I wanted to mention this. No. And this is kids are looking for jobs now, because jobs are different now than they used to be. And when you go on a job interview, see, we didn't have cell phones and stuff like that back in the olden days. And that would kind of confuse the issue when you're retired, when you're actually going on an interview with somebody. But there are key things you need to know now when you go on a job interview.
Right.
One of those is don't bring a cell phone in. Just leave it in the car.
Or put it down in the bottom of your purse and put it on silent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, what's going to happen? Are you going to a job interview with me? I'm from the old school, because you go on a job interview with me and you're looking at your phone every 2 or 3 seconds. I'm going to think, they're going to do that on the job.
On the job, yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so just be really careful about that.
Well, and most hospitals and nursing educators, teachers, no matter what profession you're in, unless you're actually, that's part of your job, they don't like you to have those cell phones out at all. Now my husband's job, being a Alpha insurance agent, by the way, I think I mentioned that before. Yeah. He's in Center, Alabama. He's been there a long time, but everything, his life revolves around his phone. Because everybody calls it constantly.
Mine too.
And he's constantly giving quotes and calling them back on the phone. And so, he has to have his phone at work. But like teachers and, when you're a student in college or a student in high school, really you don't need that phone because it's a distraction.
It is. Yeah.
So actually you don't, that makes sense when you go to a job interview to not have a phone, And
Cathy, think about this. Remember the first job interview you went on, you probably didn't know anything in the world about the company. You didn't know anything. What do they do? What do they manufacture? How do people act? How do they dress? Because different places you want to dress for the company.
Well, see, and I didn't, and to be honest, Donna, I didn't have that opportunity. I actually, modeling was probably my first job. So, and we didn't have cell phones. That was not a concern. My parents didn't have to be worried when I went to the BJCC and did the Sunday modeling market on Sunday mornings, which now that's dissolved years ago. It's in Atlanta now as the market. But yeah, nowadays though, Oh, it's terrible. And then I heard this ad on the way here today. And it's bad enough that we have to worry about our children getting on the roads. So I really feel for these young parents that their children are just turning 16 and they're just getting out driving, because it's not only you have to worry about the distracted cell phone drivers or the distracted drunk drivers, right? But the advertisement was for marijuana drivers.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Yes, I actually heard it on the radio. And it said, I don't know exactly, it was to the effect of, if you don't feel yourself or something behind the wheel, then don't drive.
Hey, how about don't do it to begin with? Don't do the influence thing. Just don't do it at all. I gotta say, this is from the experience. Okay, the people I know went to school with who did drugs barely know they're on Earth. I mean, because it really doesn't fries your brain. So be thinking about that. Okay.
Yes, but I really feel sorry for these parents. Can you imagine? I mean, I feel sorry for you parents that are just now capturing the age of the 15, 16-year-old that's getting out there having to drive in this.
Yeah.
I really do. Plus, gas prices are high on top of that. So, not only have you got to pay higher gas, you got to pay higher insurance, and you don't know if you're fixing to have to buy a green vehicle.
Do you want to get me started on that?
A green vehicle.
It costs $60,000, and then if something happens to the battery, there's another $30,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, people can't afford that right now. I don't know.
I know we can't.
I don't know what is going to come of what's all is going on right now. But I think it is a good idea that we slowly go greener, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah, but
slowly, because people can't afford.
But to produce these cars,
we gotta have gas.
Yeah, but to produce these cars and the batteries that go in them, you're still using that dirty old word fuel. Yeah. I mean, it's still going in it, so you're really not getting anywhere. I say just let people whatever they can afford. If you want green, go for it.
Yeah. Well, and the bill I think that Biden signed yesterday, correct? I understand his agenda and because I don't like to get into politics. Nobody does. We don't want to talk about politics really.
I love it.
But I will say this. He's looking at the big picture down the road. And that may have been great and fine if we weren't in a war with Ukraine. And we're worried about people starving across the world right now.
Okay, if you're starving right now and you're in the United States, you're starving, you can't afford a $60,000 car.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the war has brought on extra problems. COVID has brought on problems. So, I think probably the people that maybe planned his agenda for the 4 years, they didn't know about COVID still being here. And they didn't realize Ukraine and Russia were going to be in a war. I'm sure they didn't realize all these things. But I was hoping they would, because they're not going away.
Yeah, but advisors should know these things.
Yeah.
Because, I'm an armchair advisor. I'm an armchair quarterback. But I do have enough common sense to know that, because I was living in the real world when COVID hit. And I saw how it affected small business owners. It devastated them. The ones that did stay in business are still struggling.
Right.
And they're not struggling because they don't have business. They're struggling because they don't have enough employees.
Right.
You got to have enough employees. Well, guess what? If you don't have enough employees and you're having to overspend, remember they had to buy these shields to go on the cash registers. They had a lot of expense they had to endure. So when they had to do that,
a lot of
they
masks.
got to go up on the price of everything. You have to in order to stay in business. So you can either close her down and not do all that, or you got to go up in the prices.
Yeah, I just don't know. I guess the best thing we can say about that, and we'll just close that off, is that it's got to be terribly hard for the working mom and dad right now. Much less to have to worry about how are they going to get their 16-year-old a car, like we were just saying, all the safety things they have to think about now when they're driving the car, much less how are they going to pay for the car because they're worried about their son John Doe going out to get a job because maybe he's got an immunocompromised disease or an immunocompromised system, and he has to have masks and all that. So there's so many added expenses right now. I wish we could just sit back and say, look, just open the oil lines up.
I wish that could happen. The pipeline needs to be open.
If they opened it up, yes, it's not good long term, but it would get us through our hardships maybe. And then later they can evolve into the green.
Okay. Let me explain to you about businesses. And apparently there's people who are in the politics who don't know about running a small business or any kind of business whatsoever.
Right.
You have to grow in phases. We called it stair step.
Well, you've been in small business a long time, Donna.
The only way you can stay in business for a long time, as many years as we've been in business, is by growing in little steps. You don't just like, oh, I've decided I'm going to change over a whole new computer system, and I'm going to spend $200,000 to do that. No, you've got to grow into that.
Right.
Yeah. Now you got to keep up with the times. You got to do that. But why invent problems in order to have an agenda?
Right.
Okay, because you got to think about your employees. You can't hurt them. When you own a small business, you're responsible for not only your livelihood, but your employees' livelihood too.
So the biggest thing you can take from all that, support your small businesses. Isn't that right? Support your small businesses. Support your kids that are going back to school with all these fundraisers. Even though it might be a little bit expensive right now for everybody because of inflation, if you have an extra few dollars and they come knocking on your door to buy Krispy Kreme donuts or whatever it is they sell, candles, buy one if you can, because it helps those kids,
And people in this area do that. I wanted to talk to you just for a few minutes about volunteering. And volunteering is an awesome thing to do. I volunteer for Shepherd's Cove.
Yeah.
And so what I do, I'm involved in the craft class. They call it Cove Crafters. And so what we do is
pretty cool.
Yeah, you need to come with me sometime. Yeah. It's the second Thursday of every month. It begins at 5:30. The Santa Fe Cattle Company actually provides food for us. You get a free meal there to go with it as well. But we make some kind of craft, and those are given to the patients. And so the last one, what we did last week was really awesome. Is this little book. And it was a neat thing because the patients can write down their last wishes. They can write down little notes like, how did they feel that day? What do they hope happens to their family if they pass? There are all kinds of things.
Okay, now tell people what Shepherd's Cove is so they understand.
It's a hospice.
Right.
And I'll tell you, it's best around. They've been around for a very, very long time. And now when I'm out and about and I'm talking to potential sponsors, and I'm going to be knocking on your door. Okay, so when I'm talking to them, they will say, well, who sponsors with you? And I'll mention, the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse. I'll mention Bobby Ledbetter Twin City Used Cars. I'll mention the Shepherd's Cove. And then they start smelling when they say Shepherd's Cove. Not that they don't like the others. It's just that everyone seems to have experienced a family member who went to Shepherd's Cove Hospice. And so it's just that's what we like. We like sponsors that are well thought of in the community. And that's just one of them. But what they do is we make these projects, and those are given to the patients. And it's a little keepsake that the family can take on with them as well.
Oh, that's nice. I did hospice for about 1.5 years, I guess. I really enjoyed it. It's because I've done a lot of different areas of nursing. Med-surg, ICU, ER, taught clinicals. I didn't finish my master's, so I don't teach in the classroom. But I haven't taught clinicals now in a while. It's been a couple of years.
Which was the most interesting part of nursing that
what was different is hospice was a different entity of nursing. Because in the hospitals or school, you teach everybody, you chart by getting better. Everybody gets better, In hospice, it's a lot different because you don't get to chart that way. You're charting constant declines. you know, so it's really heart-wrenching. But met some wonderful people at the hospice I was at, and probably Shepherd's Cove, I'm sure, where you've gone. A lot of people know the hospice I worked with, which was Lakeside Hospice in Pell City. Wonderful group of people. Yeah. Dr. Larry Wimberly, I hope he gets to see this because he's a fine man. He actually used to be at Parker Memorial Baptist Church in Anniston.
Yeah.
And he's the main chaplain or pastor at Lakeside Hospice still. I think he's still there. I'm pretty sure he is. So just a really good family. He moved from Anniston to Birmingham many years ago. But just he's still doing it. And he was Dr. Larry Wimberly at Parker Memorial when I was a little girl. So it tells you it's a long time. And he's still doing it. God's been good to him. Yeah. He still looks great too. Last time I saw him, which has been a few years. But him and his wife, and he's got a fine family too. Good people. Hospice people are good people though.
They are. And if you're new
it's
in an
a special
area,
field. I said I wanted to do it again one day, but when I got a lot older. Because I still want to, my problem was I wanted to get them well.
Absolutely.
I had that heart. I wanted to get them well. I wanted to go back to the hospital and get better. And a lot of times you don't get better in hospice,
Well, I wanted to mention this. The Albertville area is growing like gangbusters.
Oh,
every time
crazy.
Cathy, every time I go over there, there's a new building.
Wow,
being put up.
yes.
Now, what that means is a lot of folks, some of you folks in all 50 states are probably being sent here to Albertville, Alabama, and maybe you're wondering about it. Maybe you saw on Indeed or one of the job searches a little town called Albertville, Alabama. It's just a few miles from where we live right here in Geraldine, but they are growing like crazy. So this is the thought. So, because I remember how I felt when we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right.
Cathy, I didn't know anybody.
Right.
I mean, it was just, you just got planted. Phil took a job promotion, took us there. And so one of the best ways, if you've been planted into a different area, one of the best ways to meet the cream of the crop is by volunteering. You're going to meet the best people in the area. Those are the ones who really care about your community, and they really care about you. And you might meet your future employers. Let's just go ahead and just put it out there. A lot of times it's who you know when you get a job, right? A lot of times that's just the way it is. So you would be in the mix of the people who are really the people who are rocking and rolling in the area, and those are some really good folks.
Well, years ago I did, when my children were young, I did a lot of volunteer then. With Junior League and with Concern for Children. They used to be on Noble Street back then in Anniston. Some really wonderful people too that I work with.
Where it's against the law, by the way, to wear blue jeans still.
Yeah.
I don't think they encourage that. Anyway. It's still on the books, Cathy.
Yeah, but it's just really, really. It's a good thing to you can volunteer through church, through school. Now, I did a lot of volunteering to my children's school as far as that went too. So a lot of people can get out there and do that. You don't if you don't have children, you can still volunteer to help.
And let me tell you something else that's pretty cool.
Raising money for the playground. Let me tell you something that's really good.
We've only got about 5 minutes, and I got to mention this. This is really awesome.
Okay.
So if you've been laid off and you're drawing unemployment, the first question people ask is, can I volunteer and still just draw my unemployment? Yes, you can. And let me tell you what employers love about this. If they've laid you off and you're volunteering, they are loving to know that you're taking care of folks out in the community.
While you're hunting a job.
They know that.
That is a good idea.
They love it because this is like companies are looking for well-balanced employees. Not only do they do a good job on their work, what they're doing, but also that they care about people in the community and they volunteer.
Right. Well, we used to could do a lot more than we do in schools now, but now they've had to change some of the rules because a lot of years ago when my daughters were young, I volunteered to be their cheer sponsor, which is their cheerleading coach. Now that's got away from that, I think now. I think now you have to be part of the school system. Like my daughter that's over the varsity cheerleader, she teaches. They have to teach there now. I think the coaches do too, I'm pretty sure, with football and basketball. I think they all have to be part of the school system. So keep that in mind, folks, because that means that's a lot more on those teachers. Mm-hmm. So be kinder. They've probably had a long day teaching kids at school.
Yeah, they have.
And now they're coming out to do Friday night coaching.
Yeah, let's just add something else to that.
Yeah.
You know, another thing about looking for a job that we didn't have back in our day was the internet. And, you know, you get on the internet, look on the Facebook page, like you don't know how to dress on this job interview. How am I going to go on their Facebook page, and you'll probably see the people who work there and how they're dressed on the job. But kick it up a notch, though. You need to do that. So if you see they're wearing blue jeans, wear khaki pants.
Right. Yeah. Don't do what others do. Mm-hmm. You know, as the old saying goes, it's not where your clothes come from. It's not how much they cost. It's how you wear them.
And clean and pressed.
That's right.
Yeah. You know what my granddad used to say? Both my granddads, one worked for the USDA. He's the one who owned this farm that we're on right now. And then the other one worked in a cotton mill, and he was the plant superintendent. Mm-hmm. And so they interviewed people constantly. And both my granddads said, you know what? We would sit there and talk to them. They looked them straight in the eye. And also, if they said yes or no, sir, that kind of thing.
Right.
But they also looked at the back of their shoes when they were walking out to see if they were, yeah. They'd say, you know, wanted to see clean shoes. Wow. That was a big deal back then. And it's, I think it probably would stand right now. Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Which is kind of hard to do if you live on a farm.
Well, yeah, and like you were saying, and over the next shows, hopefully Donna's going to take us out on this farm. Because I'm so excited. We're in the studio now, but I'm so excited to go out and see in the farm and watch her grow some things. And because we want to do some of those fun things too as well.
We're going to put a winter garden in.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've saved some potatoes. And they've got eyes on them.
Oh, good.
So I'm ready to plant them.
They sprouting up.
So I may have to take a few photos. Mm-hmm. Or do
you got
to
do that.
Yeah,
do that. And then do a few little videos and put them on our Facebook page. All you got to do is look up
I just hope that they don't flop.
The Edge with Donna and Cathy. Just look it up and you'll find we stick out there before everybody else does. So go ahead and look for her pictures. She's going to do that too. We'll be making little videos. We did some when we went to the Cattle Stampede Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah, we did. Mm-hmm. We sure did. And you can see the food. Oh, my God, it looks delicious.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it was delicious. You ate the chicken. I ate the vegetables. But
yeah, what kind of chicken do you
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I want to go to Chinese and Japanese and American. And I'm getting ahead of the game. Right?
Okay, is there a food you don't like?
Bakeries.
Especially bakeries.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. There was a bakery. We used to have a store in Opelika.
Okay, so send in some bakeries.
Pepperell Parkway. You know where I'm talking about in Opelika? So we used to have a store there. It was a Nextel store. And there was a bakery right there. And I'm going to tell you what, Cathy, it was awful. It was like I would smell that awesome bread. Less than a minute left in the segment.
We're fixing to have to go. I've enjoyed it. I've had a good day, a good time, good day.
It's been awesome. Mm-hmm. Cathy, thank you so much for being with me
today. We'll see you next show.
Absolutely. Y'all hang in there. And remember, there's a number of ways you can listen to us. You can go to channel 182 on Charter Communications. Another way you can find us is on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and that's on Abundant TV. This is a Christian station, and they are about to go even bigger than they already are. They're out of Cincinnati, Ohio. They're going to go bigger, and we're going to have about 1 million more viewers. So if you're thinking about running an ad with us, this would be the time to go ahead and get involved.
Get on board now.
We have introductory rates now.
Right. And we're hoping to expand. We ran the first show as an hour show. These next shows will be approximately 30 minutes at a time. So, but anyway, I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Cathy.
Have a great day.
See y'all later. Bye-bye.